Oh yeah, we don't really have an agenda. I mean, I have a few things I want to talk about, but I didn't write anything down on the agenda today. So yeah, are you recording?
Yes, started recording.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Shing. So hello, welcome. This is the SIG storage volume populators meeting. Where we left off last week was we have the new repos created with code. It turns out that I think I did things the wrong way by pushing my commits to master instead of creating PRs. I didn't realize that it was possible to create PRs and merge them the normal way before like the basics of the repo have been set up with release tools and CI and all the other things. But so I don't know if we need to do anything about that or if we just need to start from the point where the branches are now and start doing everything else through PRs. Sheng, thank you for reviewing my commits. And I've been creating a PR to address all the feedback. Saad, did you get a chance to look at either of those repos?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's fine. Shing gave me a bunch of stuff to deal with, and somebody already found a bug and pushed a fix for it to the
Nice.
volume for the Populator library. There's a bug where if you create a PVC and then you delete it really quick, it crashes the populator. So first bug fix is already waiting for review as well. It's like a one-liner fix.
I think I already reviewed and approved it. It looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. There's no reason not to merge that. I've been busy trying to address your review feedback, and also I haven't I have the links to figure out how to set up proud jobs to do some sort of CI run, and I haven't completed that work yet either. So that is ongoing.
That's going to take some time. All of those.
Work. The main thing I wanted to talk about today is the stuff that is questionable. The issues you raised, Shing. So we have dependencies on Kubernetes and dependencies on this release tools branch. And it's complicated because there's in the root directory, there's a go mod, which sets the dependencies for like the controller itself. Then there's a client directory, and this mirrors what happens in external snapshotter. There's a client directory with its own go mod file that has different dependencies for the auto-generated sort of what do you call it? The Go API client auto-generated code that's generated by QBuilder. And the versions of Kubernetes are different, both in external snapshotter and in my new repos. And if I try to upgrade the code gen stuff to the latest version, like everything breaks because I guess QBuilder has been making some backwards incompatible changes. And so it's not straightforward just to like bump to the latest version and rebuild. And so we're stuck on like the 119, Kubernetes 119.
Can you take a look of the snapshotter? I think we use the 0.4 something, so at least later, much later than what you're using, but not the latest.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is there's controller gen, the binary, which I was using like
I think I think you are using the same, right? I think you're also using the controller gen. I thought that's.
I am, but I was using exactly what was in external snapshotter, which is now 2 versions old, and I tried to upgrade it, because I figured that would be the right thing to do, but everything blew up when I did that, so I went right back to what external snapshotter had. So yeah, I think we need to work together to figure out like how to get the code gen stuff on the latest version.
This seems weird. So let me make sure I understand. So you have client Go, the Kubernetes client Go. That is, it's vendored in.
Well, here, let me see if okay, I'm going to try to change how I'm sharing my screen so I can share the IDE too. Okay, that should share my. What is that doing? Is that sharing the whole screen?
Yeah.
I just see. Oh yeah, I guess see your browser with the volume populator agenda.
Okay, and now can you see the IDE?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, here's the data source validator. So in the root, you have your Go mod, and this one I've updated everything to 0.21.0 of everything, and this works fine. But this only affects the actual controller. Like in the client directory, it gets its own Go mod, and this affects what gets used for the somehow. This used to be all 119, and it somehow updated itself. I guess I must have done
somehow
a
the code chain is 1.19, but the client Go is 21 now. Okay.
This was all 19.9.
Okay.
And then I think I ran a Go command that updated them all, because this is my working branch. This is not what's in master. But yeah, there's different stuff in the client directory, and then in the hack directory there's a README that says this is what you're supposed to do, and it explicitly says in the README, like, check out this version, and the same exists in external snapshotter, and so like when we update everything, we also have to update this doc that controls how you do the build, and so if you just straightforwardly change all these to 21 or even .20 and run through this process, it blows up horribly because something changed on the QBuilder side that's not backwards compatible. So
yeah, this isn't right. Like, we shouldn't have two different Go mods. There should be one Go mod, and then client should be using.
Asad, this is because we have the snapshot has the same thing, because we separate the client, the API part.
Yeah,
it's separate. This is the same thing.
The client directory,
the controller,
directly imported.
So they're in the same repo. So that's, remember you asked us why they're not in separate repos. So they are in the same repo. However, we actually have two different Go mod. So they built separately. Yeah.
So basically you have
separate.
the API that is used by the controllers as well as other consumers. In order for that to happen, you kind of need to isolate everything and all its dependencies in one place. But the fact that they live in one repo is why you're kind of getting this ugliness.
No,
it's actually not. It's not because of
even if this was a separate Git repo, it wouldn't solve the problem. The
problem is because of the controller gen, right? You're saying that because that's not updated.
Because the API version can always skew from whatever the controller version is.
Did you change that to like what? I think the external snapshot at least is newer than this one now.
Well, if snapshotter has been updated, then
but we probably have not. I don't think we have updated the Kubernetes version yet. So that's next. That's coming next. But I think the controller gen version, that was the one that I was talking about, right? So I just noticed that one is ours is newer. It's a 0.4 something, I think.
Yeah. So if I open up, this is external snapshotter, go.mod is 19.
Yeah, this one is not updated, but we need to update that before we cut the next release. That's to do. But if you look at the controller gen, I think ours is newer than yours.
And just to make sure I understand, like the reason that you need the API here is because you're going to define a new set of CRDs for volume populator?
Right. So for volume populator, we have one new CRD called volume populator, which is just how you register that a populator exists, and you tell the system the group and kind that is valid, so that when someone specifies that group and kind as the data source of a PVC, the data source validator will say, that is something, someone is going to see that and respond to it, so I don't need to emit any events. Whereas if it sees a PVC with a data source that doesn't match any volume populator, it will say, hey, this thing might never get populated because nobody has registered a populator with this particular group and kind.
And even if we were to put the API in a separate repo and import it here, the problem would exist because the client version of the dependency could skew and be different from the version of your client.
I don't think there's any, it's not a skew issue. It's just that these instructions for basically getting the code gen and processing because the only thing you need to start here is in your APIs whatever your API is, you have to fill out, a couple of files, and then everything else in this directory, all the client set, config, informers, listers, all that gets generated as a result of reading, doing the steps in this README. And the steps in this README import controller gen based on, well, there's a version both listed in the README literally and in the GoMod file. And I don't know what the ones in the GoMod are really needed for. Again, I don't really understand what is the right way to sort of publish a CRD. So I've just been following what we've done for snapshots, because that's sort of the best example we have of, a SIG storage owned CRD is all of the snapshot CRDs. So I'm just following the model and pointing out that, we're currently 2 versions behind, and updating it is not straightforward. So something that we have to figure out, I guess, between Xing and I.
Yeah, we're updating the snapshotter soon. So yeah, we'll see what. I mean, so if you just try like 0.4, does you have any problems? If let's say if you keep it at, you said the problem is with the Kubernetes update. If you update that to 21, that's a problem. Or
yeah,
is the problem is this
it could be that I had old garbage in my system that didn't get cleaned out. So it could be that the README is missing some steps. Like I could have had an old version of the code generator somewhere. I don't know. Until you pointed out this line right here, the go get sigs.kates.io controller gen command controller gen at a specific version. Like I had the old version. And I believe the way that this shell script works is if you have any version of controller gen, this code doesn't run. And then it just uses whatever version you had. So if you have an old one, you're stuck on the old one forever, I think. And so that may have been what happened to me.
Yeah, maybe that one needs to be updated first. Controller gen probably need to be updated first.
So anyways, this is probably a lot of user error on my part. And I'll work through it and get it figured out. And then, but yeah, we got to get the README updated to say what the correct steps are. Maybe I don't actually know where these shell scripts come from. Is this something you wrote, Xing, or is this something we copied from somewhere else?
Well, it's probably started from somewhere.
yeah, we have a lot of copy paste coding going on with the CRD generation. Because I certainly copy pasted what I found in the snapshotter.
Because we are using controller gen, right? So if we are completely using QBuilder, probably we don't have to do this, probably. We do need to run the script ourselves.
And I understand that another aspect of the problem is QBuilder itself has backwards incompatible changes between V2 and V3.
Yeah.
But V2 is the version they recommend that you use, because V3 is not like totally stable yet or something. Again, this is something
it's already V05. What are you talking about?
No,
the latest is the 0.5. That's the latest. That's the released version. It's not an RC build.
Okay.
So
I went to do some research on what is going on with QBuilder to see what other people were doing, and I found various forum posts and issues where people were like, don't use this version, use that version.
And also they're talking about, and also QBuilder is not exactly the same as the controller gen, right? Controller gen is on part of it, so they're not
right.
Exactly
QBuilder is a superset of controller gen. So controller gen is a subset of QBuilder, I should say. But yeah, I think some features went in, and I may have been incorrect about this, but I thought it was a backwards incompatibility in QBuilder, but it could have been because I had an old version of controller gen lying around on my machine that was not compatible with something else, and that's why.
So I was just looking at their 0.5 version. They say they updated dependency to Kubernetes 1.20.
Yeah.
So maybe we can't really go to 1.21. That's possible. So but then at least we can go to 1.20 with the latest, maybe.
Yeah. So we have some updates to do.
I wonder if it's worth just starting from scratch with QBuilder version 3.
You mean just wipe out all of this, all these shell scripts and start over?
Start over with a clean slate, because I think a lot of this was built before any of that infrastructure existed.
Oh, no doubt. No, because it directly relies on controller gen, and anything else in QBuilder is ignored by this process.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is if you try to use QBuilder directly, you get way more than you bargained for. Because I followed, their sort of tutorial for, how to build an API with QBuilder, and the hello world gives you like 10 times as much code as we want here, because all we really want is just the APIs, the client set, the informers and the listers, and then the YAML. Like that's all we care about. Everything else that they build is sort of not relevant to what we're trying to do. And it could be that just so happens to be what controller gen is good at generating.
Yeah, basically QBuilder is hiding a lot of things underneath. So you're not going to be directly dealing with the informers anymore if you're using QBuilder. So all the code will be changed.
Yeah. And I guess, is there any drawback to that if we do that?
Well, it depends what layer you want to interact with these APIs on. If you want to write your own controller and you just want to import, the relevant listers and informers, that code needs to be published somewhere. And today it's published in, GitHub Kubernetes CSI external snapshot or client. And then under there is all of this stuff that, various other projects are importing to depend on. So like that hierarchy has to be maintained.
But you'll still have like.
Yeah, we're not changing snapshot, right? We're talking about this new data populator thing.
Right, but like I want the data populator to match whatever the snapshotter is doing, so that we don't have
snapshotter we're not going to rewrite that with QBuilder.
But if you end up using QBuilder for this, and QBuilder is still going to create like an APIs directory, it'll have types.go, everything. Can a user that wants to build their own controller not import that?
I don't know how to get QBuilder to just output this stuff.
I think there's a bunch of flags. I've used QBuilder 2. I don't know. I haven't used QBuilder 3.
Yeah.
But with 2, there's a bunch of flags you can pass to their CLI to say things like, I want just the API, or, oh, also create a controller for me, or I want webhooks, or whatever kind of additional things that you need.
Do you know what document you read to figure out how to do that, or do you remember?
It was just the public docs for QBuilder.
Yeah, I haven't found the particular tutorial that shows how to do that stripped down example. Like the regular tutorial shows you the all singing, all dancing version of a controller that does everything, and it was like, wait a minute, this is way more than I need.
I mean, I would take a look at the help file on the CLI and look at what the flags are on that. I haven't looked at the 3.0 version, but the 2.0 version definitely had a bunch of flags that let you say things like, oh, I just want the API, or things like that. And I think even the prompts that when you set up a new group, it'll ask you, oh, do you want the controller, or do you want the API? Like it was yes, no answers, if I remember correctly.
And you were invoking QBuilder itself, not controller gen.
Correct. Yeah, it was QBuilder CLI.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll maybe take another run at that, because as long as the volume populator stuff is alpha, yeah, we could sort of change around the structure of the client directory. But obviously we're sort of stuck with the snapshotter stuff, and I don't want to diverge from what the snapshotter does.
You don't have to, right? You don't have to stuck with the snapshotter stuff, right?
I'd say
let's start something new. I mean, if we found that's better. I mean, snapshotter, I don't want to change it anymore. It's actually a lot of work too. But your project just started, so I mean, maybe
I guess what Ben's saying is it's more along the lines of reducing the cognitive overhead for people who are familiar with the way that things work with the snapshotter.
Yeah, I think that we should either update neither or both, and try to keep them close together, so that someone who's familiar with one can easily work on the other, vice versa. If we have two different approaches, that just makes it harder for someone else to come in and maintain both projects.
That's a lot of work to rewrite. So
This
So that's why I mean, if
this has been a pain in
why
my
don't
butt
you
for
you
sure.
want to take a maybe we can take a look of the data Populator and see how that can easily be done using QBuilder, right? Then we can come back and take a look and see if we should rewrite external snapshotter.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
we don't need to change both at the same time. Definitely that's
No, but we could do a POC to see, like, does QBuilder offer a better way to get what we already have? And then if it does, we'll just change it, and it won't be a big deal. So I'll sort of put that on my to-do list, because yes, this is a painful thing, and it's not getting any easier.
Yeah,
So,
I think everything that you said makes sense, and just the one piece of advice is don't get too anchored on snapshot, because we were in a hurry when we were doing it, and two, technology was early and we didn't have a lot of the tools that we had available now. And it would be very nice if Volume Populator could kind of serve as the new, example that we could point to for, hey, this is the way we do things on the storage SIG side.
Do you happen to know where or what you were referencing when you built the snapshotter stuff? If there was another example that any of this was based on?
No, this is just the regular like controller gen example, right? So it's not like we go to another project.
Oh, okay.
But actually there are a lot. Well, actually, I should say there are a lot of projects are building using controller gen. I should say that actually, even another project that I'm working on at my company use controller gen. So
it was the only game in town for a long time, so I'm sure there's a ton of stuff built using it. And yeah, there should be an easy migration path to QBuilder, but I don't know what it is.
But I believe there were also many other projects now started using QBuilder, so I'm sure there are a lot of examples of that too.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a note here.
Maybe you can check a Rook. Somehow I thought they are using that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I'll put my name on that because that needs doing. I think, so there was basically updating everything to the latest version. That was the main snag, was that for the controller gen stuff, it's not so straightforward. But yeah, we could just be doing it the wrong way, and if we find the right way, then maybe that'll gets better. Let me think what else there was that was causing snags. No, I think that was the big thing. So yeah, I need to push the PR that addresses all of your feedback, Xing. We need to merge that bug fix. Xing, did you also
what I'm saying
the
that's
other?
already merged. That I already merged that one.
You merged it. Excellent.
Yeah, it's just one line, right? So I saw your discussions on Slack, so it kind of seems to be straightforward. Already merged that.
Yeah.
Unless you another PR.
I had hoped to get the Prow stuff set up before merging it, so that we could sort of test that Prow did its thing. But yeah, that's also.
I thought we already have a lot of code merged already. That's just one line.
Yeah. So, no, I just once the Prow stuff is set up, I'm going to need to do some like dummy PRs to see that it actually works.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to use that as my dummy.
Hard work, actually. Yeah. If you get all of those set up, it's that'll be nice.
Oh yeah, so that reminds me of the other set of issues that I ran into was we have on all these CSI repos, we import CSI release tools as a like Git subrepo, and there are instructions in that repo that say what you're supposed to do, but I followed them and it blew up horribly. And so what I ended up doing after that was just copying what was in external provisioner, which is I think an older version of what's in release tools, and it worked fine. So I wondered
maybe you can check with Patrick, who would be most familiar with that, the release tools change. I mean, basically you said if you just get the latest, that would blow away things.
And if you want someone, or if you just want to pop into the CSI meeting, that might be more efficient, and just be like, "Hey, CSI folks."
Yeah, I go to the regular CSI meetings on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
Usually, so I didn't know that was the right place to bring that up.
Yeah, definitely.
And if Patrick is the guy, Yeah, there's
So
just the question of,
normally should be able to just like update. Well, normally like we do like regularly update all the repos, right? So it should not.
right, but some of them are definitely not updated at the
Yeah,
moment
some
I
of
tried
those
this.
repos are not, but I mean, you're saying if you get the latest, that actually does not work for you, right? So maybe that's something's wrong. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, there was some bug in the release tools where if you just do what the docs say, it tries to do some very bad things. Like there's some undefined variable, I think, that causes it to try to make directories in the root of your file system and other things that aren't going to work.
Oh, maybe so. Okay, I don't know if you have the same issue, because I think it has to do with like how you check it out, or there are some issues with that, because the last time I did it, there was a problem. Maybe you didn't check it out the way it's supposed to work. I think there were definitely some tricks, I think.
I followed what the doc said. So if there's a trick, then maybe the docs are just wrong. But I can talk to Patrick. So thank you.
There is actually a issue that listed how to do this. It's actually not even in a doc. But then that one I think you have to check out the way it's supposed to be. Otherwise, it does not work as expected. Something like that. Remember that, and then I have to use some workaround to get that to work. So.
Yeah, so I went to CSI release tools.
I
read the README. And it said to do this.
Yeah, I think.
Right. This gives you the latest, and it works fine. But after following this, it blows up. Like a basic make file will like you get undefined variables and things, and it'll.
Okay, so maybe you can probably ask him. So I do know there were some weird things when I was trying it last time. Like you have to do it like certain way, but like it's not like it always work.
Okay.
So you really have to do like how you set up your remote, things like that. It's like kind of tricky. It's not like it will always work. You have to set it up correctly, but it's not. I don't know if it has that much detail in the stock.
Yeah. I mean, if there's secret knowledge, we just need to get it into this doc, and I can help with that. So, so yeah, I'll talk to Patrick and find out what is the secret knowledge.
Let me find out that issue. I don't know if you run into the issue, but yeah, there was actually one thing.
Is it an issue in here on CSI release tools?
I forgot where that is. And it was just something that I was trying last time. Yeah, and it's like an open issue.
These are all pretty old.
I don't know where that is. I remember there was something that I tried last time. Oh, maybe it's this one. Automatically update vendor dependencies.
That's really old.
Yeah, this is the one. This is almost, I think this is one. This is almost, okay, it's frozen. Yeah, this issue, take a look of this issue. I don't know if you run into some, this was never, some of this information was never in any doc. Maybe you want to take a look and see if you run into any of those.
Is it the one that I'm looking at right here, issue number 7?
Yeah, this is one.
All right.
Take a look of this and see. Yeah, because when I tried this last time, so I have to do it a certain way. Like, I think if you follow this one, you cannot set the remote to something else. So there are some tricks. Otherwise, basically like the way, normally people probably check out different ways, right? If I just do normal way I do, then it's this will not work. So then I actually have to, yeah. I remember talking to Patrick about this one. I think at that time, I think he said he doesn't have time to get some of those details in. I'm not sure. Maybe you can check with him now.
Yeah, well, this was all the kind of stuff I had hoped to avoid by like reusing existing repos and creating new repos.
So I think it's just you have to write it a certain way. I mean, that's fine. But that I just have to learn everything to create new repos. Yeah, I don't know if this is like all documented. Some of the details may not be documented. So.
Okay. Fun. All right. Well, so these are some good pointers. Thank you, Sheng. Thank you, Saad. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to discuss in this meeting? Because yeah, it sounds like I need to just be trying out some more things and talking to Patrick before I get these repos fully working the right way.
Yeah, as you do this, just if there's areas for improvement that you find, just open a bug or an issue, make sure that they get captured so that the next person, next time around, it'll be a little bit easier, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I think that definitely for the release tools, we need to make sure that the README is something that if you follow it, you get a good result, which is not the case now. And
100%.
then yeah, the QBuilder stuff is probably just a matter of figuring out a better recipe than what external snapshot is currently doing, proving that it works, and then assuming it does, we could apply the same logic to the snapshotter, later on, if we can find a better way to get the same result.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Okie doke. Well, that's all I have. So I'm not expecting to see an alpha release this week, but the goal is still, as soon as possible to get an alpha release out, and then I still have an unmerged KEP for taking it to beta in 122. So got to start getting. I guess the 122 playing is going to be coming up before you know it.
Oh
We'll have to
yes.
start pushing for beta and getting Tim's buy-in again.
Yep.
All right. So if no one has anything else, we're done.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.